What happened in San Bernardino yesterday is beyond un-American and absolutely inexcusable. And I don't mean the shooting. I mean the politically correct cover-up. Once again, we find out it is about Islam. We now know why the FBI was involved almost from the get-go. We know now why America watched television for 6 hours yesterday, even after they unmasked the gunman. And the media said, well, we don't even know, we can't tell what race they are. Police off the record are now saying they identified this as Islamic terrorism in the first hour. But you didn't know that. They were telling us after they had the name and address of Saeed Farouk, they didn't think this was Islamic. They weren't sure this was terror. The state and the media has bent over backwards to protect not the Muslim, but the Islamist. Now, I don't ever want to jump to conclusions. I don't. It's human nature to do so. But some of us show some restraint. And some of us in the media show some restraint. I don't want to do what the president and the press does every single time and speculate before there are facts. But this is getting sick. We have murderous psychopaths, Islamists, who have told us exactly what they're going to do. They are telling us, and they're even printing it in their own magazine that is released here in America. They're telling us who, how, and why. But we refuse to listen. We won't look at the who. Oh, God forbid. Farouk? Or what was his name? Saeed Farouk? No, we can't say that name. Do you know that CNN didn't use that name for 2 hours after it was released? They finally came out with it. Why? Why? We can't look at who. We can't look at how. Because all we're talking about now is the NRA. Really? I think this is a little bigger than just the NRA. I think this is a little bigger. And God forbid we ever even address why. We refuse to listen. Instead, like Benghazi, our administration will blame it on anything other than Islam. I actually have a little sympathy in one way for the terrorists. How horrible it must be to kill yourself with one message. My message is Islam, and no one will listen to you. You're willing to kill yourself to get the message out, and not a person with... No, that's not why he killed himself. Nobody's going to make me feel anything today, but I want to express how I think a lot of people feel, used and abused. Because it feels as though everyone is almost hoping that it is a white Christian who is doing the shooting. They seem to just know. We just know that's who those people are. We now know that a neighbor saw suspicious activity at the house, saw goings on in the garage, in the middle of the night, people coming and going, all Arab, but they didn't want to say anything because they didn't want to be called racist. They didn't want to be accused of racial profiling. Yet the president blamed guns. And the media in the first hour was telling us, even though they were wearing masks, somehow or another, the first reports, there's 2 or 3 and they're all white. Wait, you don't even know if there's 3 people, but you definitely know they're all white? And by the way, media, how did you get that information when they were wearing masks? After you unmasked the gunmen at the scene of the crime, as their bodies are laying in the street, we could pretty much tell if you would have just come in with the camera a little closer from the helicopter, we would have been able to tell the race, because I can tell a white man from a black man. I can tell an Asian from a black man. Maybe the confusion was, is he Hispanic or is he Arab? But they knew because they were led to a house. Whose house? Saeed Farouk. So an hour after they unmasked the gunmen, 2 hours after they were given the name Saeed Farouk, they're still telling us we don't know their race. Why? Not only were they not telling us the race, not only were they not giving us the information, the media in the first hour, they were Googling how close it was. In fact, one source came out and said their first report, a shooting at a Planned Parenthood center. They didn't even need any facts. They just know if there's a shooting, it must be a white Christian who wants to stop abortions. Just roll with it. It's a shooting at a Planned Parenthood. Then, when that didn't come true, the media started to report it's only 1.5 miles away from the nearest Planned Parenthood center. Oh, because if I want to stop abortions, I'm going to go to a completely different building next to a golf course. Because I'm pretty sure everybody's going to tie that together. Thank you, media, for doing the hard lifting on that one. Yesterday, in the afternoon, as it was unfolding, and maybe it's just me, but I found myself hoping that the killers were foreigners. Not Muslim. Foreigners. And here's why. I don't want to believe that any American, Republican, Democrat, left, right, black, white, Hispanic, Arab, any American, Christian, Muslim, any American would be capable of doing what these monsters did. And yet, as I'm watching the news, I felt really alone in that. I watched the political and the media class, and I think I was the only one saying Americans don't do this to each other. I am saddened to find out that, yes, indeed, it was an American. But you know what? Islamism is no respecter of passports. It's a disease that goes through everyone, no matter their political rank, no matter their economic rank or position, no matter their race, their creed, their nationality. It's a disease. Mr. President, I say this with as much respect as you deserve. Screw global warming. The hell is wrong with you? If you actually believe that global warming is the biggest problem we face, with terror all around the world, an $18 trillion debt, 9 of which is yours, no real allies left that trust us, riots in our streets, riots in our university campuses, race relations worse than I've seen since the 1960s, and a distrust of our fellow Americans unlike anything I've ever seen, you, sir, are either delusional or you're the dumbest son of a bitch on the planet. Which is it? Because it is about Islam. So was Boston. So was Benghazi. So was Fort Hood. So was a half dozen others that you failed to address. And quite frankly, sir, so was Ahmed the Clock Kid. It was a timer, not a clock. If the pattern stays true, today the president will lecture us about workplace violence and how we shouldn't jump to any conclusions. He will surround himself with the fine, upstanding individuals at CARE, and then he will further the conclusion that he jumped to the first hour after the rampage and tell us once again about the evils of the gun, and then, if we're really lucky, he'll teach us the history of Christianity as he was taught by Jeremiah Wright. Mark my words, America. This will become about the gun or how our culture has alienated these people somehow or another. I swear to God, if I hear that this was a Christmas party and that's what set them off, I'm going to blow my head off. It's going to happen, and it's going to happen in short order, and the government will fail to do anything. They will not change a damn thing about the real threat. It'll happen within 3 days. This will only cause more distrust of the media and our government, which will only, in turn, cause more problems. The way the media and the administration look at for every opportunity to blame things like this on white, religious, or conservative America is disgusting, irresponsible, un-American, and I, for one, am sick and tired of it. For the love of Pete, we are not the bad guys. We are your neighbors. We are the people who grow your food. We're the people who work in the remaining few factories. And yes, we are the people who go to Christian churches, where 99.9997% of the time we're taught to love one another. I know there are a few exceptions, Westboro Baptist Church and the one, sir, you attended in Chicago with Jeremiah Wright. Everyone else learns to love one another. Yes, we are the people that you fly over in your carbon-spewing private jets while regulating us, our businesses, and our SUVs because of that invisible gas that we were all taught in grade school make the trees grow. But now, somehow or another, you insist it's making the planet warmer or cooler or whatever it happens to be doing currently. We are the people you look at with disgust and judgment while you lecture us how we need to be tolerant and not judge people. You bend over backwards to tell us that there is no mosque that is teaching radical viewpoints, while you use Common Core to currently probe our children into seeing what is being taught in the home about Christianity and race by the children's parents. Enough. This is so beyond left and right. This is so beyond Republican and Democrat. You know what? Real Americans are much bigger than that. Since when? Since when did we decide that we were just going to narrowly define ourselves on the people we vote for? When did that become the definition of who we are? I don't know about you, but I, for one, am more than that. I have hopes. I have dreams. I have much more in common with people who voted differently than I do than I have that's different from them. We have much more in common. That's one variable. And in a sane society, a very small variable. And I'm not alone. I think there are about 300 million Americans that feel exactly the same way. My question to you today is, when will we all stand united as one and finally speak the truth? And here it is. Here it is, America. It is about Islam. And our president is delusional. He is delusional or stupid or has an agenda that maybe, perhaps, was a dream from his father. I don't know. I don't care. I just know we better wake up. Because there is a dangerous delusion that has spread all across our administration, our Congress, our law enforcement, even our military now. And quite honestly, it's insidious. And if it isn't stopped, many, many more will be killed. I pray for San Bernardino today. I pray for the victims. I pray for their families. I pray for the perpetrators. But I pray for all of the other cities that will be hit next, because we refuse to look at the truth.